Hey guys, Ted Bogert here. Welcome back to the TED Show. It's been a while since I had a musical guest on. Sometimes they're probably off touring, they're creating new music. I love musical guests because they come on and they perform for you all live on the show. They've always got a great story. And today we have Krystal King as our featured musical guest. Red Wine and White Lies. We're going to learn about that. We're going to learn her origin story, and she's going to perform for you. So welcome, Krystal. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm so excited. I love musical guests. There's just a raw energy from you all, and I just love to see you perform and connect with the audience. And, I feel like I'm a closeted singer. So I'm always living vicariously through the musical performances here on the show.
You're definitely getting it raw. You get baseball cap t-shirt me today.
I like it. Like you have that's a real nice background. And I've got crazy sunset over, I'm in Orlando. So we've got this crazy storm that is it's the skyline. That's right. All right. So I told you before we went live that the audience loves to know a little origin story about you. They like to know if you were born singing or how that all came into play. So share a little 411 on Krystal.
Yeah, well, pretty much the born singing part. You got that right. Where my mom says I was born talking, at least. I was a constant talker, would wake up in the middle of the night and have a thought, and I'd crawl in my parents' bed and hold my dad's eyelids open. I could share with him this thought. But I discovered country music at a young age, probably 2 or 3 in the car, heard some Alan Jackson, just fell in love with that. And, being a country singer is kind of all I remember ever wanting to be. I would play with my mom's toy guitar. And I think the first time I was on stage, I was really little. My parents kind of dared me at a restaurant to go ask the DJ if I could sing a song. And I pranced on up there and was like, I want to sing You're Still the One, Shania Twain, and sang the song. And, I think that was
you were hooked.
My parents were like, oh, she actually knows the words. And we did not expect her to do that. So
are they musical?
No, not at all.
So are you the only one in the family that's got the musical gift or the love of performing?
Yeah, pretty much. All my cousins and my sister were in band. And I met my husband in high school band camp. So we were all band nerds, but nobody was really singing, playing guitar. I think I had one cousin who played just guitar. But yeah, I was the only one it was not a family thing. We didn't have family jam sessions or anything like that.
So how were your parents you said that from an early age, you knew this is what you wanted to do. How were your parents as far as supporting? Did you have a lot of family support? Because being an artist, it's one thing to love to sing. It's another thing to commit to it.
Yeah.
So how were your parents? How was your family supportive?
Oh, they're the best. They're great. They've always kind of wanted to see me pursue this dream. They're kind of the roots and wings family where they want me to pursue that dream, but they also wanted to make sure that okay, we can't float you. So you do have to make money and you do have to support yourself. So we want you to do this, but you also got to figure out how to pay your bills because we can't do it for you. Yeah, but my mom said when I finally moved to Nashville, my dad was still kind of oh, she's moving further away, and my mom was like, no, I've accepted that she was going to Nashville since middle school. She was like, I've already kind of accepted that at some point she's going to make the leap and want to move out there. So
what was that like? Because again, so you get to the point where you can make the move. But the business side of things, from every artist I've ever spoken to, is definitely something you have to figure out and figure out how to maneuver through. What was that process like for you as a new emerging artist?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in Nashville for about 6 years, and I feel kind of this whole time has just been a learning process, from starting out and just figuring out how to get gigs, figuring out my set list and my sound, finding the right musicians and producers to work with. But then also, definitely having to learn how to send booking emails, market myself, promote the shows, do the business speak. So definitely a learning curve. I I had studied music therapy. I thought I was going to study music industries, which probably would have been way more helpful. But I did have some experience working in radio, so I was kind of used to that side of things and that corporate life. But it still was a learning curve, just figuring out the best ways. But I think even my friends who did major in like business and marketing, it's constantly evolving and constantly changing.
Very
So
true.
you're always having to kind of learn and think on your feet and always having to think a step ahead. So like what's unique and what's going to work and stand out amongst everything else. So
I think that any business that you get into, because there is a business side of it, so you
right.
kind of have to learn how to get like you said, the gigs and the bookings and the marketing. And I feel like there's a lot of options out there for you, especially with social media, but
Right.
it's still a lot of work. And when you really want to focus on your craft, it can be a challenge for you guys. Talk a little bit about you as an artist. Are you a performer only? Are you a performer and a songwriter? Talk about the process, because I've had both on. I've had people who just perform. I've had people who perform songs that they've co-written with others, and I have people who only perform their own music. Which one do you fall into?
I am definitely like the singer-songwriter. So I perform, but I also write. And typically everything I release is original songs. But I do work with other people and co-write. Nashville's big on collaboration. So I usually do have co-writes. Typically like only one or two other people in the room. I don't do the massive group co-writes. But people ask me all the time, like, which do you prefer? If you had to choose, like, what would you do? And honestly, it's kind of the combination for me that I think makes it. I love performing and I couldn't imagine giving that up. But if I was performing cover songs the rest of my life, I don't think it would have the same meaning for me. So I enjoy performing the songs that I've written and that I feel like are expressing and authentic to me as an artist. So it's definitely the combination for me. I also don't think I would be happy locked away in a writer's room doing just that and never getting to sing. So yeah, it's definitely, I can't really choose one or the other. The beauty in it for me is being able to perform my songs and tell the stories behind those.
I think I've interviewed a lot of artists that are in Nashville, and the collaborative spirit there's a lot of lots of collaboration going on.
Yes.
There. And what's it like when you have an idea, because it's your baby, right? If you've got an idea, your song's your baby. I've heard that a million times, and it's anything you're creating, it's your baby. So what's it like when you're having somebody and you've got this idea and that person is giving input? What's the process like for you? Do you all spend hours and hours on the guitar? Is it all remote? I know back in COVID days, everybody was doing everything via Zoom, which was crazy. How is it for you? What's that process like?
Yeah, sometimes it's on Zoom. Most of the time I do prefer to write in person if I can. I tend to be like a lyric first person, not all the time. Sometimes something else sparks it, but I tend to be more focused on like lyrics or hooks. It's kind of usually what gets it started for me. And then whenever you collaborate with somebody, one thing that I love about collaborating is my brain can go like a million miles a minute, or I go to freeze mode, like one or the two. But I overthink a lot. So having a collaborator for me helps me to kind of weed through those thoughts and organize them. And then you're kind of editing in real time because that person's like, no, that's great. No, that stinks. Or maybe like, that's a good line, but it doesn't fit here. We should move it. So I think having the co-writer for me just helps me get out of my own head and just get it out and on paper. But yeah, it's always hard, especially when you do have a song that you love and it's your baby and you're bringing somebody in. You kind of want to make sure it's the right person. And typically it winds up being cooler than you imagined it yourself because you're getting these other ideas that you wouldn't have come up with on your own. So the song can kind of take shape in a different way. And 90% of the time I like it that way, but there is like the 10% and you're like, and then I kind of tend to go back and rewrite it.
But I think the collaborative spirit is so cool. I would wonder, like, as an author, if people bring in ghostwriters, it's still your idea, it's still your baby, so you want to have as much creative control over that as possible, but you get to really make it 100% your own.
Yeah.
When you perform. So talk to me about performance. Do you get emotional? Do you connect with the audience? Like if you're performing a song and you know that you know the meaning of it, you know what inspired it, what motivated you to write it. Do you get choked up? Do you get I don't know if you sing angry songs. You get I had somebody on who only wrote angry songs, and they're like, "Yeah, I get really ticked off, Ted," which is great, right? So that's emotional because you're making a connection. What's performing like for you when you're performing something that you had part of in the creation of?
A lot of my live shows, I tend to, while I do write some like sad and emotional stuff in my live shows, I tend to like to play a lot of my more lighthearted and fun stuff. Because, you know, when you're at a venue, you're wanting people to be having fun and enjoying themselves. So I play a lot of funny songs, and I kind of turn it into like a mini comedy show. You know, you kind of become your own little stand-up comedian between songs. And so that's kind of usually more of the angle that I take, is trying to bring like the fun and the energy. And then if I do bring in an emotional song, I feel like it almost has like a different impact, because they're like, oh, okay, she can do that too. And like, oh, okay, that like helped the mood have like an ebb and flow to the show. But typically I stay on the fun, lighthearted side of things.
Because people are there to have a good time.
Yes.
There are certain people that go to they want to get their anger out. That's what this other artist I'm thinking of. It's all angst.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Red Wine and White Lies. You're going to perform that for us, but tell us a little background on it. I love the title. I really think it's cool. It's a great play. What was the inspiration there?
So that one was more inspired by the hook. I think I was reading something, it said red wine and black coffee, and I just liked that imagery. And so I was just kind of reeling. I was like, what can I write that kind of have a similar word play? And I came up with Red Wine and White Lies, and I instantly, my head was like cheating song. That's where we're going with that. And, you know, obviously I'm a tried and true country music fan, so a good cheating song or a drinking song is always on the table. And so I brought it to my friend Taylor Hughes, who I write with a lot, and it was, I think, our second write together. So we just sat down, and I think we wrote it in one or two writing sessions. And I've had it for a while. I wrote that one in like 2018 or 19.
Wow.
And it's kind of been sitting for a little while. But I decided to pull it back out whenever I was recording this 7-song project. And at the time, I did not think it was going to be the first single. I thought it was just going to be a song on the album that came out later. And I don't know, once we had the right guitar lick in there, it was just sort of a drivey, energetic song. And I was like, okay, this one's the perfect to kind of introduce this project and just get people excited about it.
Talk about, before you perform, which I'm really excited about, talk about the project itself. So you have to choose from probably a whole bunch of babies to put into a project. I think you said 7-song project. What's that process like? Because I think a lot of people, either from reality TV, they don't understand that there's a lot of work that goes into what you finally put out as the final product.
Right. So this one was, I got approached by a student institute to record, which meant I had to bring in the musicians and kind of produce it, but I did get some free studio time. They were like, let's do 3 or 4 songs. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do 7. But weeding it out it kind of started that the first like 3 or 4 songs that I picked were all kind of relationship based. You know, I had a cheating song, a leaving song, a like unhappy wife burned down the house song, a murder my husband song. And so the songs just sort of had their own theme. And so I was like, I'm just going to lean into that. So that was kind of what created this 7-song project. So I was like, these songs fit this sort of hot mess, you know, girl going through relationship problems. So, but not. They're a lot of fun. There's only like 2 slow songs on that 7-song album. So it just, yeah.
I like the fun, and we're gonna be honored to have you perform. So I'm gonna take myself off and put you front and center. So let's give it up for Krystal King.
Yeah, so this one's Red Wine and White Lies, and it's available on all streaming platforms now. It's 8:15. I guess he's coming home late. And if he can't call, then I can't bother saving him a plate. Third time this week. You must think that I'm naive, and I can't wait to do what excuse is gonna try to feed me. Pop the cork and pour me a glass. Lord knows this bottle ain't gonna last. Red wine and white lies, don't it go down smooth? Yeah, it's easier to swallow when my glass is always full. Whether it's sweet or bone dry, either one will drown that alibi. So I'm raising my cup and getting drunk tonight. On red wine and white lies. Getting midnight calls, hiding his phone. Well, I know full well that he ain't talking to his mom, working overtime, around late drinking with the guys. But there's the stick on his neck, that's a real nice try. For every lie I pour glasses to another night of getting trashed on red wine and white lies. Don't it go down smooth? Yeah, it's easier to swallow when my glass is always full. Whether it's sweet or won't dry, either one will drown that alibi. So I'm raising my cup and getting drunk tonight. On red wine and white lies. They say it gets better with age, but tonight I ain't gonna let it go to waste. So pop the cork and tip it back. Baby, you can't kiss my glass. Red wine and white lies, don't it go down smooth? Yeah, it's easier to swallow when my glass is always full. Whether it's sweet or won't dry, either one will drown that alibi. So I'm raising my cup and getting drunk tonight. On red wine and white lies. Red wine and white lies. Ooh.
Oh my God, that was so good. I smiled the whole time. So, true confessions, most of my viewers know this, but I take myself off mainly because what if you're bad?
You're like, I don't want my expression to show.
One time I did it and everybody called me out. Man. So but that was amazing.
Oh, thank you so
found
much.
myself, also nobody wants to see me move around, but I felt like I was getting into it. It's got an anthem feel to it, right?
Yeah, yes.
It's a fun
empowerment song.
Yeah, I love it. Your voice is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. And National Red Wine Day was yesterday, by the way.
Nice. Well, I'm currently drinking some champagne.
Oh, my kind of man.
I mean, you got to do it. But I really loved that so much.
Thank you.
That was good. And also, my tell is if I talk about the lighting, that probably means I don't want to talk about your singing. So I definitely talked about your singing. All my viewers know, like all the people that watch me know.
I'm going to go back and watch now.
I mean, it's crazy. You have to go back to find the one that I forgot to take myself off. And that's the one that haunts me because my face is like permanently not in a good place. God bless those people, though. They loved it, and they had a great time. That was amazing. So tell people again how they can find out more about you, how they can download and y'all buy her music, and support our artists like Krystal.
Yeah, so krystalkingmusic.com, which is scrolling along the bottom, is pretty much my one-stop shop. But all the music's on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, and I'm also on most of the socials: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all that good stuff. So find you there.
Absolutely amazing. I'll go out, buy Krystal stuff. That was a fantastic song. She's got a 7-song project, I guess we're calling that for you youngins. For me, it would be like an album or a back in the day.
I guess it's an album.
I like project. It sounds,
it's a long EP, short album.
I loved it. I love it. So that was amazing, Krystal. Thank you for coming on the show and performing. Y'all go to krystalkingmusic.com or find her on all the socials, and we have all the links down in the comment section below. Thank you, Krystal. I appreciate it. Red wine and white lies. That was awesome. All right. We'll see you guys later. Bye, everybody.